This is the Ugland House, a modest 5-story building tucked away in the Cayman Islands. And yet, in 2020, over 20,000 companies were officially registered there. As Bernie Sanders once pointed out, that's either the world's most overcrowded office building or a massive tax dodge. President Obama called it the largest tax scam in the world.
Either this is the largest building in the world or the largest tax scam.
Before we go further, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more simple breakdowns about offshore banking and how the wealthy protect their money. This building is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle, the world of offshore banking. Celebrities, CEOs, and even politicians rely on offshore accounts as a standard part of their financial planning. Jurisdictions like the Caymans, Switzerland, and the British Virgin Islands have become financial havens, thanks to their privacy protections, legal flexibility, and minimal taxes. And they compete fiercely to attract the ultra-wealthy. No tourism or exports needed, these countries built billion-dollar economies purely on financial secrecy. Experts estimate more than $10 trillion is parked in offshore accounts globally. That's more than Japan's entire GDP, hidden in places many couldn't even locate on a map. The OECD says this represents around 8 to 10% of the world's household financial wealth. Over $800 billion sits in Swiss banks alone, with hundreds of billions more in Hong Kong, Singapore, Luxembourg, and Caribbean jurisdictions. If you're finding this video interesting and want to learn more, tap the like button and share this video to help others learn too. But what exactly is offshore banking? At its core, it's simply placing your money in a country where the financial rules are more favorable. These offshore financial centers offer 3 irresistible benefits: ultra-low or zero taxes, strict banking privacy, and relaxed reporting obligations. Some don't charge income or corporate tax. Others don't publish your name on public records or even on internal banking files. And if your wealth is large enough, they'll bend over backwards to keep you as a client. But here's what you must understand. The rich don't own things. Their companies do. This is the foundation of offshore strategy. Because if you're an employee earning a salary, your income is reported, taxed, tracked, and flagged, especially for any large transfers. Laws like the U.S. Bank Secrecy Act, or FATCA, require you to disclose overseas accounts, foreign assets, and income sources in painful detail. Miss a form and you face fines or prosecution. Let's compare 2 fictional millionaires. James lives in New York and earns $1 million a year as a salaried CEO. His employer reports every dollar, withholds tax, and James ends up losing nearly half of his income to the IRS. Now, meet Mike, who earns the same $1 million but does so through a Cayman Islands trust via a Luxembourg-based holding company. Instead of receiving a taxed paycheck, Mike's income flows through offshore entities and reaches him as dividends or distributions, routed through jurisdictions with no tax at all. Mike technically owns nothing. He controls the structure, and that's the power of tax avoidance. Now be clear, tax evasion is illegal, but tax avoidance using legal methods to reduce your bill is not. It's the fine line elite lawyers and bankers walk every day. And this is what offshore banking enables: maximum benefit, minimum liability. Let's look at a world-famous case, Apple. In the early 2000s, Apple built an offshore system that allowed them to shift profits made outside the US into Irish subsidiaries with virtually no tax. Through a loophole in Irish law, Apple created stateless companies, not taxed in Ireland or anywhere else. From 2003 to 2013, Apple routed over $120 billion this way. At one point, they were paying just $50 in tax per $1 million earned. Instead of owing $40 billion under US tax rules, they paid just $600 million. And it was all legal. Here's how Apple created Irish entities with rights to sell products globally. They structured things so these companies weren't technically run from Ireland, avoiding Irish tax, and weren't incorporated in the US, avoiding US tax too. The result? No country taxed their profits. Eventually, the EU stepped in. In 2024, Apple lost the case and was ordered to pay $14 billion in back taxes. But they're not alone. Amazon, Meta, Google, Nike, Starbucks, Microsoft, nearly all major corporations use similar offshore tactics. OECD estimates show over 40% of multinational profits are shifted into low or no tax regions. The Panama Papers revealed that over 140 public figures used offshore structures. The Pandora Papers exposed 35 world leaders doing the same, often legally. One study showed over $10 trillion held offshore, usually under company names, not personal ones. And that's the trick. The ultra-rich don't put their names on anything. Their homes, yachts, and bank accounts are owned by shell companies. Their lifestyles are funded by trusts and holding entities, not traceable personal accounts. If you don't own it, it can't be taxed, sued, or seized. So how does the setup work? Step 1. Create a paper company in a tax haven. It doesn't have employees or a product, just a legal presence. Step 2. Let that company own your wealth, homes, yachts, art, patents, even your cash accounts. Step 3. Insert a trust based in yet another country to own the company. And you're just a beneficiary. You live in the house, drive the car, fly the jet, but legally, you own nothing. That's how someone ends up with a $150 million yacht owned by a BVI company, held by a Jersey trust, managed by a nominee in Panama. But how do they spend money if nothing is in their name? Easy. They borrow against it. Instead of transferring offshore money into personal accounts, which would trigger taxes, they use it as collateral to take out loans, often at ultra-low interest rates. Apple itself did this. It's called buy, borrow, die. Buy assets, borrow against them, and die, without ever triggering a tax bill. And yes, we might just talk about that next. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads.